Hi, everybody. Welcome to the St. Pete Soul podcast. Thanks for joining me again. I am Brittany Renew, your host and local real estate advisor. I am excited to have the owner of the Canary here with us today, Allie Padin. She is the owner of the Canary, which is on the 600 block of Central, which is honestly one of my favorite blocks. There's so many fun shops and restaurants right there. So the Canary is a curated collection. I don't know why I picked all those three C's together. It was the hardest thing to say.
I love a good alliteration. Go for it.
Creatively curated collection of merchandise and home decor, fun gifts. I mean, it's just, there's so many fun things in there. So Allie, thanks for joining us.
Oh, Brittany, I'm so happy to do this, and I'm so flattered to be included. So really, it's my pleasure.
Yay. Cool. Well, let's start us off by telling everyone a little bit about you.
Oh gosh. Well, where would you like me to start? I was trying to figure out where's an appropriate place. And I was laughing this morning because I'm picturing myself playing next door at Sarah Bagley's house. And I remember there was there was the doctor play kit, and there was the kitchen cooking play kit. And every time I was there, she had this bag of loose stationery. And I would take it and I would set it up, and she'd be like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, I'm playing shopkeeper. I'm gonna sell cards. You take your plastic Fisher Price stethoscope and have fun. Yep. I'm gonna peddle used birthday cards from your grandma in France."
Aw. So you had a long time dream of being a shop owner, it sounds like.
Yeah. Dream, delusion. No, I joke. But and then it sort of just spiraled. My mother worked at a store in our town called Wendy G, and that was in Larchmont, New York. And from wee baby at Christmas time, they'd bring me in. They'd be like, "Well, you're 8, so go sit in the back because you child labor laws." And I just wrapped Christmas presents, and it was fun. And then I think I got poached by the couple who owned this little it's called Cafe Fresco, and I was this little 13-year-old hostess. And I was like, "This is cool. People are just handing me money." And I remember begging my mom to take me to City Hall to get my worker's permit, years in, let's make it let's make it legal. Let's be on the up and up. And I went to work for a store in town, 4 doors down from Wendy G, called Hey Diddle Diddle, which sold children's clothing and toys. And I think through the years, by the time I went off to school, I had worked at almost every storefront in town. 3 restaurants, the Italian ice place, you name it, I had done it. And so I don't know if that's the entrepreneur spirit, or if, I just have, a shopping habit that I needed to find.
Well, I confess I have worked plenty of retail jobs in my life, and some of those were only because of to buy whatever was at the store. So
oh my God. Well, before you have these things like car payments and renter's insurance, you have a lot more cash. I think I had nicer clothing in 1999 than I do today.
Yeah. That's funny. So okay, so you're from New York. You're from New York originally, New York State. And what city was it?
So I grew up in New Rochelle, which is just north of the Bronx, so right outside the city. So I spent a lot of time growing up in the city, and then I spent my 20s in the city. And so, talk about retail influence. I remember, going shopping with my mother and my grandmother in New York, and just, all of these they call like the fallen angels, Bendels and Barneys and Bergdorfs, and talk about alliterations. And they were just these, retail was still very special. There were still small towns on Madison Avenue, and it was it was just a really nice exposure. I mean, you can't get better than that. So,
Yeah. And so what made you decide to move to St. Pete?
um, I tell people this and they laugh because I think they believe I'm joking. Uh, I had done a small stint in New England before coming down here, and I was, kid you not, sleeping in my ski clothes. And
But you were that
for
cold.
somebody, yeah, for somebody who like struggles with like blood flow and keeping warm, just I got a call from my sorority sister from Vermont, who's been here for 8 or 9 years. And she was like, hey, you're cold and you're miserable and it's gray 364 days of the year up there. She's like, everybody's happy in St. Pete. We're the Sunshine City. She's like, it's Burlington South. And I hung up the phone and booked a moving truck, and that was it. That was it.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, yeah. I was just saying, I had a lease signed on my way to the airport. It was just, you guys just drew me in. Like,
Wow.
I don't
I
know
don't think
fishing, but there's it just,
yeah.
there was something I knew. It just, and Reed, my friend, who's so wonderful, she said, look, everybody's here is happy because either you live here and you're happy or you're visiting and you're happy. And
That's fair.
she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong. I'm not saying, I haven't had a meh day, but um, it's a magical place. And, you know, it's, I think it's my forever place. I can't see ever leaving this place. So,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I experienced the same thing when we moved here. And I think the small business community is part of that magic, which you dove into, obviously. So
mhm.
talk about the timeline, like when you moved here, like when did that happen with the timeline of opening the business?
So my father and I went to visit my sister and her family, I believe around last Easter. So it was about a year ago. And we were out to dinner. And I remember saying to my family, I'm a proper millennial. So I was working like 3.5 jobs at any given time. And I I was getting a little tired. And I said to them, I'd like to open my own store. This is where my career has led. This is what makes sense for me. This will be, bring me real happiness. And um I don't know that they'll ever listen to this, so I'll throw them under the bus. And my dad and my sister were like, "Great, this is so cool. We're so happy for you." And my brother-in-law, who's like the commanding officer in a nuclear fast attack submarine, looked at me and he's like, do you know accounting and finances and real estate? And I was like, you know what, Greg, watch me do this.
Yeah, I'm gonna
So
figure it out.
right, it was a 2-year plan. And truth be told, when I got down here, I needed to find a baby present to send to one of my best friends. And I said to my neighbor, where do you go for, baby presents, wedding presents? And they kind of just looked at me and shrugged. That shopping did not exist downtown. And I went for a walk and I realized that my 2-year plan very quickly became a 2-month plan. Um,
Wow.
so someone just came in and they were like, "Oh, I remember we met back in, in November." And I was like, "Well, I can't tell you I remember most of November." But it happened very fast. About so this is 7 months ago. I had looked at a space down on beach, which was already sort of claimed. And actually, Brian Zucker just announced it's going to be a very cool bowl um, place. And so that was sort of a bummer because I had my heart set on that. And walking down Central one day on the 600 block, there was a for rent sign in the window, and um, everything snowballed from there. It happened very
Yeah.
quickly. Um, Within a few weeks, I had a lease signed, and talk about no turning back.
Yeah.
Um, so, but you're talking about the 600 block. I'm sitting in the store right now. I'm looking across the street from Mangosteen, who just opened the glass noodle, and not only am I surrounded by great food, but I'm surrounded by great stores, women's boutiques. Um, and so I'm just very happy to be part of the neighborhood, filling in a hole that uh, there was there was need for. Um,
Yeah.
Cocktail napkins, funky puzzles, gifts,
Yeah.
you name
Gift
it.
stuff. Yeah. I love gift giving. I mean, that's kind of like I would kind of always said that's one of my primary love languages is gifts. So I love to give gifts. And you had I saw an article you've been quoted saying gift giving is an art. So obviously you're really embodying that by curating this shop for that particular purpose. I mean, obviously you have more than just gifts, but I mean that's kind of like the premise there. So like why like talk a little bit more about like why you said that specifically and kind of your thoughts on gift giving.
So they definitely can't watch this now because I'm going to throw my brother-in-law under the bus again. um, Christmas morning at our house, uh, exchanging presents and after breakfast. And in our house, the present always comes with a story and an experience and anecdotes. And when you grow up in this environment, in this family, you lean into it. And there was finally one year where my mother handed my brother-in-law his pile of presents, and he gets to like the middle one, and she's like, "So Greg, before you can open that box, I need to tell you." And he looks up and he goes, "Christy, I love you, but just let me open my goddamn present."
Oh
And I
my
was like,
god.
oh God. And she was like, fair, like fair. Um, so like, part of the present is like the procurement of the present and this like martyrdom of what you go through to
Yeah.
secure the present, and so on and so forth. I mean, there are very funny stories of finally finding the ornament that mom wanted, and my dad gets it home and it drops on the floor.
Oh, yeah. I've done that.
So yeah, all of those silly stories. But so it's always been fun, and I watched my mom and her friends and that's in Wendy G do this for years and years. Give great help people find great gifts, and I always thought that was very fun. And there's an analogy I make to going into a glasses store one day, and I was trying on reading glasses, and this employee came over and she said, this is very cool, but this isn't for you, and try these two on. And I was like, oh, and she was just try them on. I was like, oh my gosh, like wow, like you know what you're doing, and
Yeah.
they were perfect and they fit my face. And so it's sort of like, trust the professionals, lean into
Yeah.
that. I
Mm-hmm.
had a woman come in here with her sister the other day, and they were looking for a gift to send to her son for his birthday. And I believe he lives in Canada, and she said he is the youngest, and I should have looked it up. Um, we have wine sommeliers. He is the beer sommelier. They have their
Okay.
own world.
Mm-hmm.
And she's telling me about him being the youngest person in Canada ever to become, I don't know, accredited with this title. And I was like, this is so cool. So she had brought up to the counter this pack of um, cocktail napkins with beer bottles on them.
Mm-hmm.
She tells me this story, and I walk over and I was like, but did you see the puzzle? And she goes, no. And I almost feel like I should go grab it, but I won't. But I have a New Yorker puzzle with this like very hipster guy presenting a craft beer bottle to a
Oh,
couple at a restaurant, as only hipsters at a distillery would. And she was like, that's it. She's like, oh
yep,
my
that's
gosh.
perfect.
And so, it's equal parts knowing your customer and hearing them out, and then also knowing what you have, because had she walked out the door, I probably would have run to the 300 block being like, but the puzzle, you
Yeah.
need to get this
Right.
puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's really fun. I have memories of being at Wendy G on Christmas Eve at like 2:30 p.m. and they'd talk about getting ready to close down, and my mom would be like, just wait, give him another 15 minutes. And there were two guys, both who I am friends with their children, who would come in the door on Christmas Eve at the 11th hour,
Yeah.
and they'd run up to the counter and they'd just look at mom, and they'd hand her the credit card and they'd go, whatever she wants.
Yeah. Like,
What does
just
she
help.
want? Make
Yeah.
it help. That's also me. Like, I that's what I'm here to do for St. Pete, for our visitors, is come to me, let me help you. Um, Central Avenue can be a landmine of parking. There's either parking, there's not. So, if you know what you want, like, hey, I can map it to you. If you're in town, I'm happy to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Um, it's the mutual relationships that we are already fostering,
Yeah.
um,
That's really cool.
to be there for each other. We just did um, a drop off over to a really wonderful woman at the beach, because she and her girlfriends were all going out for dinner and she didn't want to bring me. And I was like, hey, I go to the beach on Sunday anyway. So, I'm happy to drop it off with you. And,
Oh,
if,
that's so
if
sweet.
Central's bananas, come down our really super cool back alley and, come into the
Hell,
parking
run out
lot.
the driveway. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's just customer service.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy to do, whatever's needed. So.
Yeah. So a little bit from your background, when I was kind of just researching a little bit, for the episode here, just learning that believe that you have an artist background. And I thought maybe I read something about interior design. I don't know if I'm making that up. So talk a little bit
No, no,
about
no,
like your
you're not.
background. Okay.
So, when I was in high school, I started painting and I got very into painting. I went to the University of Vermont. I studied studio art. My mother's sister and her husband were down here for dinner last week, and we were walking them through the store. And I have some local artists, including Richard Seidel, who's the best, most wonderful man. And my aunt looks at me uh, and she's like, "Why aren't your paintings on the wall?"
Oh,
I'm like, that's so sweet. But I mean, so yeah, I studied
that's a fair
painting.
question, though.
We'll see. I painted the bathroom the other day. That might be my
Okay,
every
okay.
once in a while I'll get up in the window and I'll do something. I think we did a little sports car when it was the Grand Prix, and uh a little painted vignette for Valentine's Day. But we'll see. It's been a while
Yeah.
since I've held a paintbrush. Um
I just had a crazy idea. What if either you or another artist, they could be in the window because you have that kind of step up, and they could be drawing, painting something like, and maybe that would draw people into the shop. That's a cool
I
idea.
have some people to call. I know some
Yeah.
people. We know some people. All right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway.
yeah, making a note. So I had been working in retail after I graduated on the creative side, and after the crash, um, I had worked for Tommy Hilfiger and Kate Spade, and these small little tiny companies were all going public. And unfortunately, a lot of the creative jobs in retail are eliminated. And so it became a very shallow pyramid. And a friend of our family's um, gave me the opportunity to come work for her as a photo stylist. She does prop styling, which was very cool. Um, very much what I was doing, but instead of windows on Fifth Avenue, I was um, behind the sofa in the Pottery Barn catalog, like holding the plant, holding the plant up for the shoot, or
Okay.
pressing curtains. I was telling Lisa from Shoreline Sugars earlier this morning about people asking me what it meant to be a photo stylist. I was like, well, there's always the bowl on the table or the island, and the bowl always just has these like, you know, 13 limes or random balls of yarn, or there's just a random surfboard on the wall. Like that's what I was doing, and it was very fun. And but I was traveling all the time. I was in Littleton, New Hampshire, doing shoots for Vernon Hill, and I was in Brooklyn shooting for Macy's, and I burnt out pretty quickly, and um, so decided to bring it full circle and um, launch the interior design business that my mom and I, had she not died a few years earlier, would have gone into together. So, there was sort of no more procrastinating, no more excuses, and it was a great move for me. It was a great move to work for myself, and I was very fortunate to have friends and neighbors and people throughout Westchester and Fairfield and New York, who I got to work with. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. And now I'm doing all of that and then a little more, minus
Yeah.
having to like yell at contractors and
Yeah. I'd say it's
it's
probably
like,
a little bit more fun to, yeah, make your
yeah.
shop look adorable and find fun at market to include versus yelling
Yeah.
at contractors. So,
so so I'm still doing design consulting. I met a client who came into the store up in Clearwater the other day. We're starting to work on a project over on the beach. um, a friend is hiring me to help her in the Old Northeast. So I have in the store not only gifts, but home furnishings, lighting, rugs, furniture. In those catalogs and through those vendors are endless assortments of pieces. And right now, only 60 of my 100 feet of length of the store is open. Behind the curtains will be a furniture showroom. And I actually have my first sofa coming from North Carolina next week, which will be very exciting.
Cool. So like
I don't know if he'll be I don't know if he'll be listening to this, but my boyfriend kids, he's like, great. Now there'll be a sofa. I just need my Xbox, a couple beers, and
like, hey, this is not a man cave for you. This is my business.
I'm like, come and hang out on this store with me on Saturday afternoon. He's like, you need more dude stuff. And I'm like, okay, sofa, beer, Xbox, and got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I got it. I joke regularly because they're always men. There'll be like three women in the store, and then there'll be like men walking up and down the street holding a bag, very confused. And it's like, just the gentleman on the sidewalk belong to anyone in here? Anyone?
Yeah, exactly. You need like little stools outside just so they can like have a place to sit and hang out.
I'll give him some Play-Doh. I'll give him some Play-Doh. Keep your
Well,
hands
when you said
busy.
furniture showroom, like, is that so that sounds like a little bit like of a future plan? Like how far
It'll
out do you think something like that is?
well, I have a chaise lounge sofa sectional arriving within the next 2 weeks, I believe. I already have some lighting coming in from one of my favorite vendors in Mexico. It'll be a slow grow into what I ultimately want it to become, but slow and steady.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, and again, anybody who's looking for anything, just happy to help. We learned during COVID the importance of taking care of our home and our furnishings, and the importance of quality furnishings. You know, I think we millennials are all a little bit guilty of fueling the disposable furniture
Yeah.
world for a little while, but if we can invest in quality pieces that will stay out of the landfill, like, sure, I'll my hypothetical grandkids can fight over that sofa, all day long, and
Yeah.
but things that will last, things that are timeless, that are appropriate for our area, light, tropical, but really sound quality. So that's fun. And so yeah, so then I get to like stay in, like, I get to sort of have the best of both worlds, which maybe I'm
Yeah.
asking too much, but that's okay.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's the whole point of having your own business. You get to make
Yeah,
it however you want it to be. So
yeah, yeah.
that sounds perfect. You're kind of you're using your gifts in the best way. Like your eye for design and finding furniture and stuff that fits in the spaces and style, like the styling side of it, coupled with, the gifting side of it. I mean, you're able to make your store look however you want it to look. And, if you have that background, then you're keeping it fresh by constantly changing out things, changing out the window, because that's another big aspect of retail is just making sure the store looks fresh over and over and over
Sometimes
again.
it's magic. Someone came in the other day and they come in about every 2 weeks or so, and they were like, "Oh, you have so much new stuff." And I'm like, yes, we have so much new stuff. It's just all turned around.
That's the trick right there.
Magic.
It's retail magic.
Yeah. Pay no
um,
attention
so
to.
yeah, so I kind of like, where do you get most of your products? Do you go to market? Like, what does that look like?
So I'm actually very fortunate that a lot of the vendors that um, they brought in to Wendy G are still around. So I have these decoupage picture frames. My favorite was I'm waiting for more to come in right now. It's little black paw prints, and I had it. It says St. Pete pup. Um, So sort of regional ones. I have a few cute ones that say the girls, family, St. Pete. So that's a vendor that, we were selling at Wendy G, 10 of them a day going into the holidays. I have paper products by Kaspari, which, I've just always known from coming from an entertaining family. So again, a lot of the work was kind of done for me already, but there are
Mhm.
some, luckily, I'm not sure if it's a product of COVID, but the wholesale market, the online wholesale market is a tremendous resource. Um, the plan is, because everybody's favorite question is asking me when I'm going to Atlanta, because I grew up hearing all about Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And
Atlanta market. Yeah.
right, which if you don't know is like the big gift show, and I think you walk 1,800 miles going through all the booths.
Yeah.
So the plan is to go in July to buy for Q3, Q1. Um, one of my mother's best friend who was at Wendy G is actually going to go with me. They would do that together. So I'm like, don't make me go alone.
Oh, no,
I'll
it's
be like the little kid
overwhelming.
lost in the department store.
Yeah.
So, but I also will say this, which was very important to me coming in, especially as I can now say, an out of towner. I'm new to St. Pete, was to bring in a few local artists and artisans, and a client I met across the counter one day. I'm just gonna like ruthlessly plug now. Lindsay, she and I got to talking, and she was a grant writer, and she studied anthropology. And she was like, yeah, I do some painting. And I was like, that's so cool. Let me see. She showed me, and I was like, we got to do this. Have you done the girl boss thing? She went to the next girl boss meeting, and she came to me and she was like, I'm not a grant writer anymore. I'm just an artist. And I was like, yes, like, St. Pete Girl
That's
Boss is
great.
like taking over the world. But this is her like incredible artwork. St. Pete, where are we?
Yeah.
We're like, we're right in here. And so I love that. And I was really looking for a very giftable jewelry line that I appreciate, I loved, I responded to. And in, the middle of the night, one night, scrolling, I come across this line called Body Holiday. And I just fall madly in love. And I'm going, where is this? Where is this designer? Where is this creator? And yes, take a guess.
In St. Pete? Seriously?
Yes,
That's
Charlotte
so cool.
lives in the old Northeast. And I'm like, get out of my head, Instagram. Like, what is happening here? So this is actually one of the pieces for her line. And we have a bunch of her jewelry and handbags, and they're all magnificent. Charlotte, who studies marine biology. So I'm just collecting all these beautiful, brilliant, talented women, come, bring, let's make magic happen together. So
Yeah.
it's fun to be able to work with them, and it's all doing really well. So,
Yeah.
and then I
That's so
have behind me Richard, who's the resident artist down the street at the Morian, who's just an incredibly talented artist. So being able to bring in a few local vendors has been very fulfilling, very fulfilling.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's no shortage of local St. Pete artists. We have such an
Mhm.
amazing art community here. It's continued to grow. So I'm glad to hear that you're able to pull on that and bring in some really cool people to highlight. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and ruthless plug. If there are any artists out there who want to bring a very tall ladder and help me paint my sign,
Okay. Yeah.
you gotta ask. You gotta ask. I mean,
Hey,
we all need to do the
absolutely.
work. Somebody was
You
like,
do
"Why
need a
don't you do it?"
sign.
I was like, if I get 5 feet in the air, I get like vertigo and panic and fall over. So I'm not
Yeah.
climbing 18 feet up on a. So,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. Anybody listening, please help Allie with her sign.
I'm
I love
sending
it.
applications. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
Well, so let's shift gears a little bit. I would love to hear like what's your why? Like what gets you out of bed every day to pursue this crazy life as an entrepreneur?
oh, well, that's 7 a.m. every morning. So she's sleeping right now, but it's a 13-pound brown tabby who, well, St. Pete has told me she's a Bengal. Uh,
Okay.
so my little alarm clock, my fuzzy little alarm clock, who, if chips are not on her plate within 5 minutes, I get a nice scalp massage. Um, so I don't think anybody will be surprised. I think everybody in this town is quite familiar with Gator. She's my marketing department,
Yeah.
my loss prevention team, my number one salesman, because she sat in the window while I was opening. I'm sure you've seen her, and
Hmm. I
she'll
have.
spend a few days a week at home, so I can have the door open. People will come in, and this is sort of funny. A woman came in last week, and I was here, I think, with one of the girls from Girl Boss, and we were talking. This woman walks in the door, and without even taking a moment to see if she was in, she got so upset. She was like, "Is the cat okay? Where is the
Oh.
cat?" And I was like, "The cat's fine. She's home watching like cat TV of birds with my boyfriend, like playing on his terrace right now. She's fine." But like, thank you for your concern. Like, we walk, we I have her little like bubble backpack because we bike or walk to work every day, and that's how I carry her. So we're walking past the lure the other day, and these guys are having dinner, and one, as I'm walking by, like reaches across the table, like hits the other guy. He goes, "That's Gator." She has celebrity status.
Oh, that's fantastic. But see, that's it. That's the magic of like having a business like that where you're people love little things like that, especially pets. So she has or wait, he or she?
She,
She has become the
Gator, are you gonna
face.
come say hi? You want to come say hi? Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm
I
good.
mean, I think that's more of the literal answer to your question, but I mean,
Yeah. No, I love that.
I just love to have fun. I love to be around people and get out, be in the sun. So, it's not hard to get out of bed down here in the morning.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm with you.
I finally broke the habit of opening the blinds like with a wince, please be sunny, please be sunny. Like,
Yeah, because
um,
it's very likely sunny here. So
mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's, and then that, hey, I'll take a gray day every few weeks. We can all,
yeah.
it's a fair deal. That's a fair deal. So,
All right. So
but
tell me, what's a typical day look like for you after the 7 a.m. wake up call with the cat?
after the feeding, oh gosh. Well, I'd be called out by so many people who know me. I am not a morning person. So mornings are usually very slow. I'll read the paper, take a shower. Fridays are great because we have girl boss meetings down at the Playhouse at the theater. So my friend Charlotte, who lives downstairs from me, it's always a text. "Hey, you ready to go?" "Yeah, yeah, give me 15." And all right, I'll see your 15 and take another 15. And so that's always a great reason to get up and at 'em. But I'm here, I'm here 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. And on Sunday, it's like beach day. So, like, let's go. I get in the car, we're going, and, just read and sleep at the beach. Um,
That sounds wonderful.
yeah. So that, and, just knowing that I can be here for everybody in town, and this is not a horrible place to have to spend the day. It's quite nice. So
Well, that's wonderful to hear
yeah,
that you enjoy it. 'Cause that makes
yeah,
it, and
my
you're passionate about it, makes it all the more better.
yeah.
So
But I'm not gonna lie, I love locking the door at the end of the day too, because I do live in St. Pete. So it's like, okay, where are we going for dinner tonight? And
yeah,
where are we having cocktails? And who opened a week or so ago? And let's go check it out. And let's go for a bike ride at the pier. I had my sister's 3 kids here with me for the weekend a few days ago, week and a half ago, and doing St. Pete with kids is just an absolute riot. My sister's kids are like so cool. They love sushi, and well, there's no shortage of good sushi. And we took them down to the pier, and they all did karaoke and played at the park. So that was really, really fun. I was
nice.
happy to be able to do that with them. Yeah.
Actually, a good segue to me, like asking my little hot seat questions. So I
Oh.
always finish the podcast by asking some of your favorite things. So are you ready to do
Mhm.
that? Okay, so what's your favorite spot to go out for a night out? I know it's hard. There's so many good places.
Um, I love a cocktail at Intermezzo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a fun time is usually had down at Three Daughters. I am like the new like number one fan of the Spasmatics. So everybody's like, the Spasmatics are playing at Three Daughters or the Floridian. I'm like, I'm there. Shameless plug. What is the name of the Goodnight John Boy? Have you heard about this? Opening up where Ringside used to be,
Yes.
down by Janice,
Yes.
which is going to be this like discotheque open. I want in. I went
Yeah.
in. I am so ready for that. Apologies in advance to my boyfriend who like is going to have to listen to shameless amounts of Donna Summer.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
so that's I'm very much looking forward to. But it's always fun because we have so many restaurants, even still opening up. We had a really fun night, actually on a first date at Good Fortune, which had just opened. And I was like, this is the cool, and I'm like a New Yorker, I'm like, this is the coolest place I've ever been. I was like, this is what it must feel like to be in LA. Like,
That's
um,
awesome.
but it's fun. I mean, we've had a few really amazing dinners at Alelo.
Mhm.
So that's sort of on the and oh my God. Okay, and then I'll stop. I'll just do 2 more. Um,
Okay.
Whenever I have a friend pop into town or family and it's like, well, where are we going? And I'm like, we're going to Wild Child, duh.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
hands
so
down. Yeah.
yeah, Wild Child and Baba, which
That was
we were
great
there
too.
on Sunday, and they just opened up this very funky little bar adjacent with a huge wall selection of anchovies, which was just really fun. I did
Oh,
not eat the
interesting.
anchovies, but it looked very cool, like 2 thumbs
Yeah,
up. So
very cool.
yeah.
All right. So next question, what's your favorite pizza place? Which I mean, you're from New York,
Oh,
so
Brittany,
I think that's tough. But here, preface it
I'm
for
also
you.
not supposed to be eating gluten. When
Oh,
I'm being very naughty, I do love, I think it's called the Honey Boo Boo at Pizza Box.
that's my favorite. That's my
Hmm.
favorite.
But they do actually have a very good gluten-free crust.
So I'm gluten
Um,
free. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
So is
I'm
that
gluten
where you,
free, like strict gluten free, and
yeah,
so that is my favorite pizza place
yeah.
because I love their crust and the honey boo boo. So
So
yeah,
the
so,
pepper, it's just like little bucket. Oh, it's so good.
yes,
I'm more of a
excellent.
French fry girl. When we go out for dinner, while I was getting the store ready to open and, through the holidays. We'd go out, and reading a menu was just not on the scope of possibilities for
Yeah,
me.
like just give me
So it was
food.
like French fries, just bring me French fries and alcohols and I'll be happy.
Those are two of my favorite things, so
Yeah.
no complaints.
What's the biggest espresso martini you can make? Just put it in a pint glass. Um, so I've found some good French fries, but I'm on the hunt. I'm still open to really who has the best ones.
Okay, I can give you one of my favorite
Because you can
places for
eat French fries too. Yeah.
yes. So, have you ever been to the Left Bank Bistro on MLK?
Yes.
Have you had
Yes.
their pizza?
No. What did we get there when we were there?
So it's like they did a little starter, like a little happy hour appetizer type thing. I mean, it's on the menu for regularly too, but so it's like a little, thing of frites, and they have the most amazing dipping sauces. One of them is a curry ketchup, and it's just freaking amazing. So that's one of my favorite French fries because of the sauce. So,
Well,
there you go.
if the French bistro can't get them right, I would be heartbroken. So,
True. Very true.
okay. Okay, well maybe that's where dinner's happening tonight.
Yeah.
I'm also a big trivia buff. Um, so that's like the other thing. Like we're on the French fry hunt and we're on like the hunt for the best trivia in town. Um,
Cool. Okay.
so
I don't
whoever,
know the answer to that, but yeah, that'd be fun.
sometimes you got to fill those nights.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Book and
Mhm.
Bottle Book Club, which I'm very much excited for. But yeah,
Yes. Love Book and Bottle, which
oh yeah.
I was in a book club there for a while and had they changed the day and I couldn't make it work with my schedule, but
Yeah,
it is a fabulous place for a book club. So,
I know. I'm so glad to have them right around the corner. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, and Bonu. Oh, yeah, we were
Oh,
there
yeah.
way too late the other night. But then it's the other very naughty thing is so Chuck lives across at 9:30, so he's right across from Plant Love,
Hmm.
Plant Love, which is the vegan ice cream place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, we stayed in, like we made dinner tonight. Like, can we go get a pint of ice?
Oh, yeah. There you
So I'm
go.
like
It's a good
making my
trade-off.
way through their whole assortment. So yeah, just if you need ice cream recommendations at Plant, I'm happy to provide. The berry
Nice. I like
crumble's really good, and the Snickers. Now I'm just really hungry, Brittany.
yes, that always happens to me at the end of the podcast when we talk about these things. So yeah. Well, Allie, this has been such a fun conversation, and
Oh my gosh.
I love hearing your background, like particularly with the artist and the design background, and how you kind of now curated that into this super fun shop that when I walk in, it's just like a ray of sunshine, I feel like. So it's just, yeah, it's so cute. And
Well,
I'm glad that you chose St. Pete.
I'm so happy to be here, and everyone is amazing, and I love that everybody here wants to support local business. It's so great and reassuring. And I will say, I was joking this morning. I was like, oh gosh, I'm a little nervous. I don't want to say the wrong things. And I was like, maybe you guys like can come and stand behind my laptop. And I don't know if did you ever watch Friends?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you remember the
For sure.
episode where Joey's being interviewed by one of like the soap opera magazines and he keeps saying really stupid things and getting himself canceled? So they're all in the room. So the minute, and I think he says, makes some joke about instead of referring to mentors, he's like, oh yeah, I had some great mentos in my day. And they're all like, hey. So I'm like, did I make it out?
Oh,
Like, have I put my foot in my mouth yet? I don't think so.
no,
So,
you did not. You did great.
oh, cool. Very cool. Well, you
Awesome.
make it easy, Brittany. Thank you. And thank you for doing this for St. Pete. I mean, people like you, and again, like I have to plug Brian Zucker because you are all continuing to support and encourage businesses, entrepreneurship, insight into St. Pete, which is always so helpful and appreciated. And, you guys are part of what makes St. Pete so magical. So thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
I appreciate that. Thank you
Mm.
so much. I love St. Pete and I love our small businesses, so that's why I do this. So
Awesome.
well, thank you again, Allie. Thanks everybody
Oh,
for listening and watching. And yeah, I think we had enough fun for one day, so I think we're good.
yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna go check out, maybe see what they're pouring at Bonnet right now.
Yeah, I was like, go get some French
Yeah.
fries and a glass of
French
wine.
fries. Yeah, maybe French fries. Maybe don't sound like a crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks everybody. Catch you next time. Bye.